So last week, I'm researching whatever podcast episode we were researching, and I'm staring out the window like a totally productive, normal adult. And I started thinking about what each of my kids was up to, like at that moment. And then, of course, my next thought was 30 minutes later, I was like, wow, that took a really long time. And then I thought, wow, Gabby and I had a lot of kids. And then, of course, that went to like, but why did we have a lot of kids? Like, why did we have 4 kids? So then my brain went to, well, I mean, I knew why we had 4 kids, but like specifically, like what was our reason code for each one? Like, I don't remember talking through each thing with her. So I was completely off track, going totally down this other rabbit hole, figuring out this whole thing. And I realized it wasn't like we had some grand plan. I mean, we're type A, you know us, right? We're crazy and we have plans, but like everything was sort of, one decision was just sort of made, and then like we moved on, and the next decision was made, and we moved on, and the next one, and so on and so forth. So like decisions just sort of stacked up. And I'm using kids as my example here. But my point was, we just sort of figured out, like, with limited information, just make a call. Like, hey, do you want to have another kid? Yeah, we'd like to have another kid. Is this important to us? Yes, it's important to us. Let's move on. Let's do this. And it got me sort of figuring out at that moment then, well, that opened and closed certain doors for me as a single person, as a father, as a husband. Like all that just started sort of compounding, and I started realizing, holy shit, there's like some real meat behind this whole concept of, we just assume that all of our choices stacked up are all excellent and I love them, but the Peter version of having 2 kids doesn't exist. The Peter version of having an only child doesn't exist. The Peter and Gabby version of being married and not having kids doesn't exist. So those are all things that have sort of been lost. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it just sounds like you're having an existential crisis.
No. I'm not. Like, it's not that deep. That's not the point I'm making.
Okay.
I'm trying to say that some version of myself didn't make it this far. That's all I'm saying. Some version of you didn't make it this far. You decided to marry Trent. You had 2 kids. You live in Orange. Like, this is what the choices you've made. So I'm going to use an example. I was, I don't know, in my 20s. I literally read every book I could on Mount Everest. I wanted to climb Mount Everest. I wanted to climb all 7 summits. I read everything that I possibly could on this whole thing. And then I got married and then quietly started having responsibilities. And here we are 30 years later. And if you asked me, do I want to climb Mount Everest? I have zero interest in climbing Mount Everest. I think it's crazy to climb Mount Everest. I don't even know why I was ever interested in climbing Mount Everest. You with me?
Yes.
But the point is that version of Pete is now gone. I don't blame anybody for it. It was my choice to make, but it's gone. It's just sort of like, okay, the Pete who was going to be the mountaineer doesn't exist anymore.
Got it.
It's not existential. It's just sort of recognizing it's okay.
I mean, really what you're trying to get to is that it's not really regret that you're describing. It's more that like you have an awareness that's catching up late of maybe like mourning in a way what could have been.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to explain.
I think maybe because we all think of like mourning and grieving as something that is negative and sad, that maybe if you flip it on its head, instead of it being something that's sad, that it's more about, yeah, life may have been different, but you've gotten to this place for a reason.
Totally. Yes, I think that's really good framing, because that's where I would argue I should spend more time. And that's ultimately like kind of when I was finished with all of my staring out the window and having my moment, I got there. Where I was like, no, this is actually like okay. Like
right.
I could
it's not
I
like
could
you want
sit
a
in it.
do-over of life. It's just what
Yeah.
you kind of sit there.
No, because regret is like big. Like for me personally, regret something big. I don't know that I have any major big regrets in my life. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like this content, subscribe, leave a review, and share with us your episode ideas. We'll pretend like they're ours and pass them off as our own. If you like this short and want to watch another, click here. If you want to catch a whole episode, click here.